Welcome friends to another r/AmIThejerk video. While this subreddit's all about making judgments, I hope you don't judge me too much if I ask, could you hit the like and subscribe buttons down below? That said, our first story of the day is by So Bloody Over It. Am I the jerk for badly reacting to my house being rearranged? Before you come at me, hear me out. I went interstate to see my mother over the Christmas period. I'd asked my boyfriend to look after my cat and house sit for me while I was away. I said to him to not have anyone over, which included mother-in-law. I think that's a pretty reasonable request. While I was away, boyfriend secretly had mother-in-law over to my house under the guise of meeting the cat. Mother-in-law got it in her head that I needed her to tidy up, so they set to work tidying up while I was gone. I asked boyfriend not to get too carried away and not to touch anything that could be classed as rearranging. I thought I made myself very clear on my stance about this. Boyfriend actively lied to me about not having anyone over while I was away. I come home, boyfriend picks me up from the airport to tell me that my father's coming to my flat to see me. I thought the flat was still the way I wanted it. We get through the door to my flat and absolutely everything has been changed. I walk around and I lose my crap saying to boyfriend that I told him not to go overboard. I started crying because he didn't respect my wishes and told me that mother-in-law had been there to help him. I lose it even more finding out that mother-in-law, who is a first-class snooper, has been in my apartment touching my things and putting my life on display. Boyfriend got up in arms because I was being ungrateful, and I said to him that I didn't want this. I didn't ask for this at all. And to find out that mother-in-law had been here without my permission really made me mad. I said to him that he should have consulted me about the changes he was going to make instead of just doing it and making me learn to like it. My dad came over and I was in a foul mood having just learned that my privacy and my home had been violated. Dad thought I was being unreasonable about the state of my house. Boyfriend and mother-in-law made it look like no one lives there. I stood my ground and said it was too much change, and now they've made it so I can't change it back. Boyfriend said that I was a jerk because of my reaction to this. I'm starting to think I am, but I also feel like it was a healthy reaction to someone completely turning your house and stuff upside down without you knowing. So am I the jerk? So I think in no way is OP a jerk. The reason I'm basing that personally is because OP said their house. Their stuff. If it had been my house and my stuff, I would feel absolutely violated, and not just violated, I would feel disrespected because we all have our own ways of organizing, right? There's a method to all of our madness. Your house or your room or your stuff, that's where you comfortably be you with your things. Somebody coming in, looking around, moving it all around and reorganizing the entire place, it's practically not even your house anymore. So I understand being upset. What do you guys think? Was this an overreaction to a cleanup job? Or do you think OP's totally valid for crying and being upset about it? Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. This next story is by Bad Brother 108. Am I the jerk for telling my brother's pregnant wife she can give birth in an alley for all I care? So I, 30-year-old male, have a 19-year-old male half-brother. He's been living with me since he got married in December because my mother and he had a falling out due to the fact that he got married so young. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. If I knew then what I know now, I wouldn't have let them move in. Both him and his wife, both 19, are the worst house guests I've ever had. I say guest because they're meant to be looking for work and a place of their own. I've made it clear from the get-go it was temporary because I have 4 children myself. 7-year-old female, 5-year-old male, 3-year-old female, and 1-year-old male, and my wife works from home. Since they moved in, they've complained about how loud mornings are and my cooking. I do all the cooking. Because I rarely do anything spicy which my brother's wife craves. They're messy and they never pick up after themselves, even moan to my wife about never doing their laundry, nor making my brother's wife snacks during the day. They think me and my wife are their personal help and drivers, then try and guilt us when we tell them no to 4 a.m. McDonald's runs, or my brother's wife's rude comments, but we're too young to know better. It all came to a head this week when all our children were at home due to a bug going around. Nothing bad, just schools and daycares in our area being extra careful. I couldn't get the day off, so unfortunately my wife had to deal with 6 children while trying to work. My brother and his wife demanded they all stay in one room and we get them takeout so there's no germs near their food. When my wife told them they should cook for once because she's extremely busy, they filled out calling her a heartless witch for making a 5-month pregnant woman cook for 8 people and my brother clean while he was trying to sort out business. It got to the point of them screaming at my wife and my kids, making my wife cry and having an anxiety attack. I rushed home when I got an SOS text, but my brother was waiting at the door crying about not being our slave and how his pregnant wife is starving. When I got to my wife's office and she explained everything, I saw red. I told them they had 30 days to get out of my house and it was time they faced the real world. They both tried to argue with me, explaining none of them can drive and my brother still hasn't gotten a job. I said I didn't care. My brother's wife said they'd end up homeless, and if anything happened to my niece, it was all my fault. I told them basically what the title says, and she started crying, calling me a heartless jerk. I explained the situation to my sister, and she called me a bad jerk for being so heartless to 2 teenagers. But when I asked her when she was letting them move in, she hung up. I've had multiple social media posts made about me and angry phone calls from since then from my sister's husband and my brother's friends. I think OP is not the jerk. Not only are these people already in over their heads as far as the situation they're in when compared to their actual mental maturity. 2 19-year-olds, one of them 5 months pregnant, neither of them can drive, neither of them have a job, they're living with the husband's brother, and then they're complaining about doing basic self-care. Not only complaining, but like harassing the people that are letting them stay there. If they're that ungrateful and they don't realize how good they have it right there, then yeah, I think OP is totally fine to say what they said and to let them figure it out themselves. Our next story is by an anonymous poster. Am I the jerk for throwing away my autistic best friend's blanket because his girlfriend told me to? First of all, my best friend is 24, high-functioning autistic. Despite this, he has a strong social group, is considered handsome by women, and has a good-paying full-time job. However, he has a secret only me and his girlfriend knows. He keeps a security blanket in his room and talks and hugs with it. He says the blanket got him throughout traumatic moments in his childhood, kind of like that character from the cartoon Peanuts. Well, I don't mind what he does, but this blanket's been straining his relationship with his girlfriend of a year. She tells me he gives more love to the blanket when he's stressed out, and she feels like he loves the blanket more than her. So she asks me to get rid of it when he was at work. I took the blanket away and threw it in the local dumpster. When he came back, we explained everything to him, and he broke down in tears and locked himself in a room. It's been 2 days. His girlfriend says he's not talking to anyone and he's still in his room and skipping work. I tried calling him, only for him to ignore my calls. Am I on the wrong in this? I feel like he should talk responsibility in this relationship considering he's an adult. Me and his girlfriend agree he shouldn't be fixating on this object and move on from his childhood. So this doesn't happen too often, but I think OP is a pretty clear-cut jerk. I don't think the fact that they're autistic should even matter in this situation. If anybody had a fixation on a blanket or a stuffed teddy bear or whatever it is, this guy grew up with this blanket being that comfort item for him since his childhood, and he just willingly took it and tossed it in the dumpster? I think the girlfriend and OP in this situation just don't understand the situation at all. The girlfriend's jealous of a blanket. So OP just goes, "Oh yeah, you shouldn't be jealous over a blanket. I'll just throw it in the dumpster. That'll fix it. Who cares if it's my buddy's coping mechanism he's had for over a decade? He'll get over it." Man. Our next story is by Crystal Palace Queen. Am I the jerk for not letting my son get a dog? My son, 18, lives with me in a condo I own. We have 2 cats that we've had for 10 years. About 2 months ago, he announced that he's getting a dog. I said no. There's reasons I won't allow it for now. 1, we both work, and I feel it's unfair to leave a dog inside 9+ hours. 2, our HOA only allows 2 pets, and we have 2 pets. 3, when one of the cats recently had a UTI, I asked him to give her a dose or 2 of her antibiotics when I was not home, and he refused. So he's unwilling to care for the pets we already have. He says he prefers to be homeless with a dog than live under my oppression. He's so oppressed in that I only ask $130 a month to cover a portion of his monthly car insurance. He also states that he already paid to have the dog neutered and it arrives mid-February as it's currently being fostered by a family he knows. No, that dog is not coming here. Am I the jerk? I'm imagining OP's leading on that it's their house, and I think just for that reason alone, they're able to say no, the dog can't be there. And I care greatly for how well the dog would be treated too, and OP says they can't even take the time to give the cats a couple antibiotics. How are they gonna take care of the dog? And yeah, if you're not home 9+ hours every single day, that's a long time to get a dog, bring it into the house, and then just leave it there all day over and over and over. I don't think OP's a jerk for having concerns and saying no. This next story is by Throwaway195067. Am I the jerk for getting angry with my girlfriend and demanding she pay to replace my sheets after she got blood on them? I, male 26, have been dating my girlfriend, female 24, for about a year now, and we recently moved in together. She didn't have a lot of furniture and such, so it's mostly mine in our apartment, including my bed, frame, mattress, sheets. I'm a bit of a neat freak, and she generally is too, so we get along pretty well living together. Now, I'm not one of those guys that gets grossed out over a woman having her menstrual cycle. I've had sex with my girlfriend on lighter days with a towel down. I'll go buy her feminine products. I don't get weirded out if she mentions it. I will say though, it totally grosses me out getting on my bed though. Well, a few days ago when we woke up, I noticed a blood spot on the bed and got totally grossed out. I knew she'd been on her period for 3 days already, so it wasn't any sort of surprise accident. I asked how it happened, and she was upset and said she thought she didn't need to sleep with anything on. I told her that was absurd. Why would you go without wearing anything and get blood all over my bed? I told her that was irresponsible and that she needed to pay me for new sheets. She agreed to pay for new sheets, but got upset with me for getting angry and calling her irresponsible. She said that she likes to not wear anything when she can. She said she thought her flow was light and she wouldn't bleed overnight. She says I have no reason to be angry, to talk down to her over something I don't experience. I said that she should have been more careful with where we sleep and that it was unhygienic. Am I the jerk for getting upset and wanting her to pay? I would say OP was a jerk here. I feel like although you might be able to say something about being more careful, it didn't have to be condescending and so pointed like that. I actually think it's okay if it does bother OP, but it's about how OP conducts themselves and deals with it. If OP just said, "It's okay, could you just cover the cost of new sheets? We'll just try to be a little bit more careful next time." I don't know if that would be unreasonable. Now, realistically, do I think it should have bothered OP? It's a naturally occurring thing, it's hard to predict, and you can clean those sheets. They're not just ruined. It's just kind of weird how much OP explains it doesn't bother them at all. They're willing to physically get it on them, but if it touches the sheets, it's done for. Burn the sheets. And our final story of the day is by an anonymous poster. Am I the jerk for breaking up my parents' marriage? I'm 16, my parents are 50-year-old male and 47-year-old female. This happened a few weeks ago. My mom asked me to send photos from the family get-together on the family group chat. The photos were in her phone. I didn't want to do it, but she made me. While I was selecting all the photos and videos, I found something. It was just there, right in the middle of the photos. A video of my mom and my uncle, my dad's first cousin, hooking up. iPhone has a new feature in which you can see when a photo was taken or who sent it to you and when. It was sent by my uncle to my mom on the same day when the family met. I couldn't move from my seat for 10 minutes just trying to process. I went to my mom's and uncle's chat and found out they'd been exchanging stuff for weeks. I found 2 to 3 more similar videos in the chat. Yeah, crap on me for snooping, but I couldn't stop myself. I left it at that and tried to pretend like nothing happened. A couple of days later, I come home to find my uncle there. I wasn't aware he was coming. He told me he was just in the neighborhood. I was pissed. I greeted him rudely and went to my room and didn't say goodbye. I got lectured by my mom for an hour for that stunt. I couldn't look at her the same anymore. I was giving bare minimum answers to the questions she asked. I hated this because I'm super close to her. She's always been a friend to me. I've talked about my crushes with her. I've only come out to her and my favorite cousin, uncle's son, ironic I know, from the whole family. My mom's birthday comes. My dad gifted her a gold bracelet and she thanked, hugged, and gave him a kiss. The whole dinner she was gushing over how much she loved him and the gift. I couldn't take it anymore. I told them what I knew, left the restaurant, and went home. She confessed. My dad came shortly after, Mom came after an hour. That was the worst fight they've ever had. Dad lived in a hotel for a couple days and filed for divorce. Dad told his side of the family everything and cut off Uncle. Uncle's son, my favorite cousin, is blaming me for destroying his family. My mom lashed out at me for not coming with this to her first. Mom's family knows everything and are blaming me for the divorce. They've stopped talking to me. They've told my cousins to stop talking to me. I wasn't planned, and my mom's saying she should have aborted me. This has been devastating for my dad. He drank straight for a week, even in the morning. His hotel room table was filled with beer bottles. Dad went against his family to marry mom. They came around eventually, but still. My elder brother, 22, is mentally challenged. He still understands most stuff, but never shows his emotions. He's being indifferent towards mom and dad, but has cried for hours straight in my arms. The last time he cried was in 2019 on my grandma's death anniversary. Seems exaggerated, but it isn't. Telling the truth has done nothing but cause problems. 2 families have gotten destroyed. Am I in the wrong for not just forgetting about it? While the situation where it was laid out might not have been the most graceful implementation of it, I don't think OP's a jerk for letting this be known. I feel like most anybody in the husband situation would want to know, as heartbreaking, as life-changing as it is, you'd want to know, right? There's a lot of grief coming OP's way, but I think that comes from everybody else dumping their insecurities and hatred that the status quo won't just go on any longer because, surprise, OP's mom and their uncle were doing some really backhanded stuff. I feel for OP and their dad because that's just such a difficult thing to go through. But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. So of all these stories I've read today, which is your favorite and why? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you haven't yet, if you could like and subscribe, that would mean a lot to me. Whatever you do, whether it's liking, subscribing, turning notifications on, all of it helps grow this channel and I appreciate the heck out of it. So until next time, I'll see you all tomorrow with some more stories.